Alright guys, so I wanted to put together a little video because I got this comment the other day that pretty much roasted me. Very politely this person put me on blast, and well, let me just read the comment for you, okay? It goes a little something like this. Nope. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, we're not doing that. No, so let me just read the comment to you. YouTube comment I'm hung up on .png. This may come off as a toxic comment. It doesn't. No, this is not intentional. I don't know your daily struggles, nor your financial situation, nor kinda anything about your life, and thus can't be the judge of anything, so I don't want this to be on a negative note. I feel like you could have done a lot more since you released the pilot, having gained a near cult-like following. Even if the episode releases 10 years from now, it'll get millions of hits rather than sink into obscurity. But the longer it takes you to do this, the higher the bar of expectations is set, and the more difficult it will be to get the stone rolling in earnest. After glossing over your activity on YouTube, I get an impression you far too often pursued some side projects or filler art from your pilot. Also, I get an impression that upon creation, your Patreon had a lot more subscribers than it does now. But 5 years since the remake? I think that's too long. I don't know who would have remained subscribed from the pilot release to this very day. I might be wrong, I really might. I don't know all that much about animation, but I think you had enough financial aid to maybe hire some form of aid, anything to quicken the process of making episode 2 and actually gaining traction and assembling a team of animators. It's not like you're not aware of the potential of your one-hit wonder, as you called it somewhere. Yada yada yada. Regardless, keep up the good work and keep us updated. So I wanted to respond to this in a way that was like well thought out and informative, because every now and then I get a comment like this and I'm just like, okay. And I start typing and I realize, like, well, really, like, I could make a whole video out of this. Like, this is... People of YouTube don't actually know an awful lot about me and Welcome to Hell and my whole deal and how I got here and, like, what I've been doing since I posted it. And so I kind of just wanted to make, like, sort of a full disclosure. This is my fucking deal. This is what I'm up to. Oh, shit. Can I swear? Fuck, I might get demonetized. Damn it! Okay, well, not important. So yeah, this is gonna be that video. I'm gonna animate on Welcome to Hell 2 while I'm doing it so that you guys can see that I'm working on Welcome to Hell 2. I didn't want to, like, waste time making a video about it, so I'm just gonna talk while I animate, and hopefully I'll be able to do those things at the same time. I'm not always able to, and I'm bumping my microphone. Very precarious setup. So anyway, I guess I kind of have to start, well, just a little bit of a background, I guess. More of my thinking in making this video was, if you follow me on other social media sites, you might have a little more of an idea of what's going on with me, but I don't post a lot on YouTube, which is kind of weird, right? Because that's where Welcome to Hell is. That's where most of my followers are. That's, you know, what's up. Hold on, this is way too loud. I gotta turn it down. But I'm not really I'm kind of like accidentally a YouTuber, right? Like I have like one video and it got me 100k subscribers. I've got the silver play button just from Welcome to Hell, like just from Welcome to Hell. I'm coming up on 300k, so like I'm actually doing better somehow, despite the comments. Like I'm not really, I didn't set out to like make YouTube videos or be a YouTuber. That's just kind of like where I posted my student film. And I just kind of want to give a little bit of background of like what I've been up to. Whatever, I've said all this shit already. So focusing in. To start, I want to say that I have been posting art on the internet for like probably about 15 years now. I was a DeviantArt kid back in the day. So yeah, like since high school, I've been posting my shit online, and you know, and I did a lot of fan art, and you gain a lot of followers that way. And I don't know, I was feeling kind of cocky one day. I was feeling kind of brave, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna post a webcomic, as all good DeviantArts eventually do. And I'm gonna post a webcomic and see how that goes. And so I started working on this webcomic idea. I had a little ditty known as Welcome to Hell. And, people really liked it. Like, people were actually sticking around to check out my original stuff. They're like, oh man, I followed you for whatever fandom, and I really like this comic you're doing. It's really great. And like, I got Daily Deviation a couple times from that comic, or maybe just once. I don't know. Felt like a couple times. It was important back then. The DeviantArt accolades. And, let's see. Wait, hold on. Okay. Sorry. Lip syncing. I gotta like, no, not gonna do that yet. Okay, so, yeah, so I got this kind of following, right? And I decided to pursue doing this original comic, and then I went to college for animation. And when I got to college, I was still working on the comic, and I realized, like, oh, well, this is too hard. Like, for so long, like, I had this whole pattern of posting my art online and getting a response, waking up, I'd stay up till 5 in the morning on my parents', like, on the family computer, because that was the only time I was alone and I could work on art, you know, and I'd like post it online, and I'd wake up the next morning and read all the comments, and it was really fun, and you really get this sense of community and like this sense of like interaction with your art or whatever. And that was like my jam. And like, so when I went to college, I was like too loaded down with work, and animation became the focus, and it was harder and harder to update my DeviantArt, and it was harder and harder to update my webcomic. But soon came the time to decide what we were gonna do for a graduation film. And in the back of my mind, I was like, shit, what if I just fucking made Welcome to Hell? Like, what if I just made Welcome to Hell? But the problem was, like, in my head, it was always this kind of like episodic, you know, thing. And it's like, well, I can't do a whole, like, it was like a series. I was envisioning it like a series or like a webcomic, and it was like, well, I can't do that. There's not enough time. There's no way. So I was like, well, what if I just made like a short? And I ran through all these ideas in my head of like shortening, like trying to condense Welcome to Hell into like a few minute long film, and it was not working. It was so stupid. It was so dumb. It was not gonna work. And I was like, well, what if I just made what if I did like an intro? Like, what if I just made like a pilot, like what feels like a pilot for a series? Because like, that's my interest, is in TV. Like, I kind of, whatever, short films are great, but at the time anyway, I guess now technically, like, I don't know, I'm not super interested in making short films. I wanted to make something that felt like a TV pilot, like where it would like catch their interest, and they'd you know, fall in love with the characters, hopefully, and want to see more. And I already had like a little bit of I knew it was not a bad idea because it kind of had this following already on DeviantArt. And I had this other idea at the time that we kind of had to pitch our senior film ideas to the whole class, and I had this other film that I had considered making. It's an animatic that's up on my channel called Blackie Max and Moebot, about a little robot kid and a space person. And I pitched Welcome to Hell, and like literally everyone, except for this one dude, but like literally everyone was like, you have to do that. That sounds way better. That sounds like way more like something that you're interested in. Fucking do that. And my teacher was super encouraging. He was like, yeah, like, you know, making a student film might be one of the only chances you have before you go into the industry to like make your own shit exactly how you want to do it, you know. Ooh, I'm gonna use these eyes because I like them. I'm gonna trace over them. Sorry. You know, oh god, I'm not gonna be able to talk and animate at the same time. It's gonna be real difficult. That's why I'm cheating a little bit. Okay, so anyway, whatever. Decided to make Welcome to Hell. The thing is, like, for student films, some of you probably know this because I know a lot of you guys like follow other student films online or whatever. They're usually like a minute, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes max. They usually don't have dialogue, very simple story. You know, Yeah, and I was like, well, I want to tell this whole story. I feel like you need at least 10 minutes for, like, to fall in love with a character, or like to give a shit about what's happening to them. And right around the time that I was in college, The Reward came out, you know, the Sun Creature short, The Reward. And that was also about 10 minutes, and it was like me and my girlfriend at the time and like a couple other people in class that wanted to make like kind of longer form short films were like, see, look, they did it. It's 10 minutes long and everyone fucking loves it. So anyway, whatever, like Welcome to Hell was kind of this weird, it's weird in like every sense of the word. Like as a student film, it's bizarre. Most student films are not dialogue heavy. They don't have 3 fucking characters. They don't have like a crazy fucking plot line. You know, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. And I like wildly overestimated what I was capable of. I started a Kickstarter to hire people to help me clean and color the film. Well, it turns out there was no time for cleanup. My shit was too rough. It was like too rough to send off to people for cleanup. I got a couple like test shots back that were cleaned up and I was like, oh no. And not because they were bad artists, but because like my roughs weren't clean enough for them to know what to do. So I was like, shit, okay. So I hired like 20 or 21 some odd like just fucking people that followed me, and I paid them per shot to like help me color Welcome to Hell. And that's kind of why it looks like 21 different people colored it, is because 21 different people colored it, and they all have different programs and they all have different styles of coloring, and sometimes Sock has a star on his hat and sometimes he doesn't, and that's fine. I got a 10-minute film done. That's what I had to do. I had to cut corners. Also, the result of that, of making the film that I wanted to make, is that it's not exactly a portfolio piece. It's not exactly something I can show off to studios and they'll be like, wow, holy shit, we need to hire her, because it's not clean. It's not streamlined. It's a whole, I'm having a crack attack. Whatever. That's a whole nother thing. But, so basically, I get done with Welcome to Hell. Or rather, I say that like it was easy, like it wasn't like a whole week of like not sleeping and mental breakdowns and crying and trying to take care of the other people I care about having mental breakdowns and crying and not sleeping. And anyway, whatever, I get, it wasn't even finished by the time it was due. Like when I graduated, I had no money. I didn't have a job lined up. I moved back home to my hometown in St. Louis and set up shop, and I like worked on Welcome to Hell a little more. Didn't have any sound when I turned it in. Like it had dialogue, but it didn't have like Foley or anything. And so I stayed up for like another like week or 2 weeks or something like that, something crazy without sleeping. And I'm like, I could feel my heartbeat all the time. And I was like, I must get this done. And, finally, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sending it out in the world. It's done. And I posted it online. So I had this Tumblr blog. I guess I need to backtrack. We had to create a blog to monitor our progress working on our films. And the platform that made the most sense at the time was Tumblr. So I got a Tumblr, and when I was done with everything, I posted the finished film up on Tumblr. I don't even know if it was on YouTube first. I think I embedded it on Tumblr. And I, not embedded, but you know what I mean. And I tagged it with a whole bunch of shit that was popular at the time. One of the Pokemon games had just come out. The Tony Awards were happening. There was some other marginally related cartoon that the Tumblr kids were into. And anyway, it blew the fuck up, and I thought that would stop after like a couple weeks, because I've seen that happen before, like with other things, and I kind of just thought, well, whatever, like it'll die down in a couple weeks, but it didn't die down in a couple weeks. Like I kept getting fan art, and people were writing fanfics and doing cosplays, and it just kept going, and I was like, holy shit. And every day I would wake up and I would check Tumblr, and I'd have there'd be all these new fan arts, and people were like, well, the Welcome to Hell tag doesn't really make any sense. We got to come up with one that's like just for us. So they're using W2H, and then people were shipping Sock and Jonathan and tagging it Sockathan and like arguing over what the ship name should be. And it just kept going. And every week I thought, well, it'll die down. And it never really fucking did. And people were asking me questions. They were like, not just where is the rest and is there going to be more, but they wanted to know about the characters and about like, what do they, what are they like? And if this were a series, like how would this kind of thing play out? And when are their birthdays? And fucking what kind of food do they like? And just asking me all these questions. Who is her? When Mephistopheles says her, like, is God a woman? Tell me about this character. Like, and I have like some ideas all like in my head about what this series would be. So I would answer them, and I'd get these questions that were really like pretty in depth, that like really made me think about the world. And I was kind of like the world of Welcome to Hell, not the actual real life world. Fuck that shit. And I was like, hold on, I need to draw this drawing. So anyway, so I was like responding to people's questions. There was like a genuine interest in it, and me responding to people's questions just like made them more interested. It gave them more to work with. Like, in lieu of, I can't make another fucking film right now. So I was just answering people's questions, and that's an important point, and I'm gonna come back to it. Because so what's happening is it's summer of 2013, and I am back temporarily at my parents' house. And I have no money, and I have no job lined up, and I'm applying to jobs out here in California, and nothing's happening. Like, they're not gonna, it doesn't matter if, a lot of people think, oh, I'm gonna get the job first and then I'm gonna move out there. And it's like, I'm not saying that's impossible, but it's like, all they have to do is look at where you're located and be like, oh, this bitch is in Missouri, fuck that. Like, we're not, you know what I mean? It's like, you kind of gotta be out here. So I have to go get a job. And there's a job fair happening because there's this new mall that's about to open in like the fancy part of town. And so I go to the job fair at the mall, and I apply to basically every job, and two places call me back. It's Skechers and the security company for the mall, like the mall cops. And the mall cop job paid a little more, and I asked, do I get to ride a Segway? And they said yes. So I became a security guard. Like, I became a licensed private security guard, and I had to go and like take a class. They tell you all about gun safety, even though like we didn't actually have guns at our particular establishment. We didn't have tasers or weapons or anything really, but and you had to go to this whole safety class, and it was 2 days long, and you had to pay this fee, and you have to get licensed, and it's a license in the county, and I go to all this training, and I worked opening weekend of this big fucking fancy new outlet mall, and it was a full-time job, and it's a 24-hour security position, which means that the mall cops are there guarding the mall even when the mall is closed. Like, there has to be someone there from midnight till 8 a.m. That's a shift. To make sure that like no one comes up and fucking does anything in the middle of the night, in the middle of fucking nowhere, in a field, by a river. This fancy mall, it's an outdoor mall. In a flood zone too. Floodplain. Like, there was a flood in that area in 93. Like, all of the gas stations have like markers around them, just like, here's where the flood of 93 was. And it's like, what the fuck are you thinking? Outdoor mall, rain or shine, snow or fucking like crushing humidity, like, we had to be there working. The security director really liked me, so I almost always got Monday through Friday 9 to 5 shift. So like, I really can't complain. But sometimes there was, there's Black Friday, or there's some kind of sale going on, or there's some kind of event, and it's like, you have to work like 13-hour shifts sometimes, or 10-hour shifts, or 12, or whatever, and you think like, oh, whatever, what's a couple more hours? It's a couple whole more hours is what it is. So I'm working this fucking security guard job, and it's 40 hours a week, outside, rain or shine. I work for like a bunch of ex-cops and like ex-army guys, and it's just like constant aggro fucking pissing contest all the time. Like I said, the security director really liked me, so he would always like defend me when like shit went down. But like, God, I have a whole tag on my Tumblr called Mall Cop Adventures that just like chronicles how stupid it was just stupid and depressing and physically exhausting and emotionally exhausting and mentally exhausting. And like, also at the time, the Ferguson riots were going on, right? So that was like this kind of big like social change kind of thing happening. There's a lot of like emotions are running high. There's a lot going on emotionally. My girlfriend at the time was in another country, and that was deteriorating. You know what I mean? And like my grandma died, and that wasn't like particularly sad or anything, but like, hold on, let me backtrack. That sounded horrible. She didn't have an untimely death or anything. Like, she went well, but we had to deal with all of like getting her house was in the Ferguson area, right? And so we had to like deal with like fixing it up and trying to sell it, and like no one wants to buy a house in that area because there's just a lot going on. And the only thing that's like kind of keeping me sane, that's like making me feel like I'm actually an artist, is responding to people on my Tumblr, is these people asking me questions about Welcome to Hell and what's the world like and what are the characters like, and it's like it's hard to explain, but it's just a really like dark period in my life. Like I didn't, when I was done working, like I came home, I had the energy to like maybe watch Adventure Time and then go to sleep. And that was it. Like, I didn't have the time to draw, not really. I definitely didn't have the time to animate. I didn't have a Cintiq at the time either, so I had to like find a Cintiq on eBay, and I kind of had to like pick up the pieces of my life after college. It was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know, you know, it was just, I had no idea. And the only thing, like I said, that made me feel even a little bit like an artist or an animator was that I had this huge fuck off following on Tumblr, and they'd ask me these questions and I'd interact with them, and they were so sweet, and they were always, you know, just making all these beautiful fan works and asking me these questions, and like I really got to interacting with people and like seeing how much it like meant to them, and I got comments like that all the time, like, you know what I mean, I was in a really big art rut, and like Welcome to Hell helped me get out of that. And like, where did you say you went to school for animation? I think I'd like to go to school for animation. I didn't know that was an option. And you know what I mean, like all of these different things, you know, like maybe people I've mentioned this in videos before, like people telling me that like it helped them figure out like their gender identity or whatever, like cause of sock, you know, kind of playing with that. And you know, it was just, I don't know, it was kind of like the only good thing in my life. And I was wrapped up in it, and like my shifts were just, I was just hiding in the service corridors, or like on the roof or wherever. As a security guard, so I can like, I have keys to any part of the mall, like I can go fuck off in an electrical room or whatever, and just checking my Tumblr and like responding to questions from people, and you know, and I don't know, it was just this weird little comforting thing, and it was kind of the only like beacon of hope that I had for like a year and a half. I don't know, it was just a really like shitty period of my life, and I don't know, I wasn't, yeah, I was talking about it on Tumblr because, like, you know what I mean, I've been doing this kind of thing since like the DeviantArt days, so it's like I know how to post images and words. I'm not really a video making person, and so it hasn't really occurred to me yet that like, oh, I'm a YouTuber. You know what I mean? Like, I don't YouTube, the kind of stuff that I do doesn't like lend itself very well to YouTube. Like, that's not my natural like way of posting stuff online. And so gotta... Anyway, whatever. I'm rambling, but finally, I fucking get up enough nerve and a little bit of money and decide to move to California. And a lot of my friends from college are already out here, and they're like, oh yeah, we got a place, like so-and-so is moving out here too, and why don't you move in here, and we're gonna move in with these people. And we just kind of played musical chairs, and we all kind of helped each other move out here, you know what I mean? And sorry. Sorry, I have to concentrate on the drawing for just a second, or else it'll never get done. I'll cut that long pause out of the actual thing. I don't want to have to edit a video. I really don't. Fuck. So anyway, I move out to California, and I decide to look for an animation job with fucking nothing to show for myself. And I tried 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 for like probably a year or two. Like I think it was a year, maybe 2 years, a year and a half, that I was trying to find an animation job, and I fucking couldn't. And I was finally like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna make Welcome to Hell too. And and my friends were super on board with that. My friends are always the most supportive people in my life with this kind of stuff. They're always down to clown till they're dead in the ground. And they're always, you know, like helping me out with ideas and like bouncing shit off of me and you know, so I decide to kind of hash out like, what is the story gonna be? I had like kind of an idea, and I tried to hash some of that out with my friends. Oh god, I skipped over some other dumb shit, but it's not important. I got invited to go do like a pitch at Frederator, and they were like, you know, they acted like they didn't know who I was. It was really weird. I was like, you guys invited me to come do this. Whatever. Anyway, it's just like everything I had tried felt like a dead end. And it was like, shit, fuck it. I'm just gonna do what I've always wanted to do. I'm gonna make my own shit. And we kind of like, they helped me hash out the details of like what I wanted to do with Welcome to Hell. And wait. And I have to kind of make the face a little bit, or else I can't draw it. Okay. Anyway, so I kind of start working that out. Also, meanwhile, my friends and I decided to start a studio. We decided to just get a studio space where we could all work on our own shit. And we did. We rented this studio space for a bit. We called it Ghost Satellite. And we, like, I owned an animation studio, co-owned an animation studio for like a year, I think, with a bunch of my friends. Like, I had to file my taxes differently that year. I technically owned a studio. Like, I didn't do any of the work. That was my buddy Michael. Any of the book work, I mean. But in any event, so we're doing this, and like a lot of people, about half the people in our studio in Ghost Satellite kind of had like jobs or whatever, and you know, and this was just their thing to do for fun. Like, here's where we make our personal work or whatever. And then the other half of us were like, well, shit, we don't really have a job, so we have to get jobs as Ghost Satellite, doing work for people. And we did a bunch of shorts for Ninja Sex Party, the comedy duo band of intranet fame. Like, we did some cool shit. We did some stuff for Smosh, I think. It wasn't a lot, but we made it work. Did a music video for NSP as well. But like, if you've ever seen their live shows or whatever, the animated shorts that they play, the first few ones they did, those were us. But anyway, yeah, so we did that, and that kind of, just as all of this is happening, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be this indie powerhouse, I got a job at a studio, because one of my buddies quit to go work at another studio, and one of my other buddies was like, oh, you should hire my friend Erica, and she was like, Erica, apply to Shadow Machine, and I was like, yo, I've already applied to Shadow Machine like 3 times. It doesn't matter, like, they're not gonna, like, I have the same portfolio I did the last time. And she's like, yeah, but apply right now, because they need someone. And, like, they called me and were like, yo, can you come in yesterday? So I, like, pretty much immediately got hired, which was bonkers. So all of a sudden I had like an industry job, and it was just supposed to be for 2 weeks. I was just filling out the last of my friend's contract, and but then, like, you know, like, kind of once you're in, you like make a little bit of a good impression, and they're like, oh, we're starting this other project, like, you know, would you like to work on that? We need some storyboard revisionists, or we need whatever. And that's not gonna work. Get rid of that bullshit. Some bold shit. And wow, I'm not gonna be able to monetize this. Welcome to Hell got not demonetized, what do you call it? I don't know, I mentioned it in another video. Just, he like stretches his neck way the fuck out. Okay, sorry. I'll do that in a sec. Make him closer. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Okay. I don't know if that's gonna work, but let's just go with it. Let's just do it. Let's do it. Let's be bad. So anyway, I get a little bit of a studio job, get a taste of that sweet, sweet paycheck. You know, it's a paycheck. That money, as the kids call it these days. So anyway, so anyway, I stuck around doing that for a while, and when, you know what I mean, I made what was gonna be like a 2-week gig into like a 2-month gig, and, you know, I know that's still actually not an awful lot of time, but when you're trying to make Welcome to Hell 2, it's a full-time job, and then you gotta sit in like 2 hours of traffic coming home, you gotta make yourself dinner, it's a whole fucking thing. When are you gonna shop for groceries? Have you tried to get in and out of a Trader Joe's parking lot in LA? It's fucking impossible. So, God, I hate myself. So anyway, how is this gonna... I gotta make him look meaner than that. That's not gonna work. God, I'm sorry. My process is such garb. Maybe that... Whatever, so I'm in LA, working, twerking, a little bit of jerking, and, you know, trying to make it fucking work, don't have any time for Welcome to Hell, and this cycle basically just, like, happens for a while, where it's like, okay, the job is done, now I'm gonna work on Welcome to Hell, and I do that, but then I'm starting to run out of money, and it's like, ah, shit, and someone will be like, oh, there's a job coming up, and it's a quick little 2-month thing, why don't you do that, and so I take another job, and I take all these little short gigs, because, actually, pretty much all gigs in TV animation are short, but I'm like taking little ones here and there, and sometimes I make them a little longer, or they last a little longer, because it's like, it's so, like, I'm not making any money, and LA is expensive, and working on Welcome to Hell isn't fucking do anything. So at some point I decided to start a Patreon. The Patreon's doing fine, by the way. Yeah, there's a couple less patrons now than there was, but like monetarily it's been pretty consistent. It's had like dips for sure. But anyway, all the while like interacting with the blog, the Tumblr, is like getting harder and harder to do. It's like piling up, right? The fandom's just like growing exponentially. Yeah, I can't keep up with it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't actively keep up with it anymore. I've never kept up with it on YouTube, and the one platform that I was keeping up with it on, it became too overwhelming, you know? And so, I don't know, it just kind of turned into this sort of vicious cycle of, like, I need money, I need to go get a job, but I need to work on Welcome to Hell. And then, you know, the thing about, I've talked about this before, but the thing about working to Welcome to Hell, the thing about working on Welcome to Hell is like it's taken a long time, because when I was in college I had a deadline and I was a dumb kid and I was like, shit, I can just animate 10 minutes. And now I've got like dumb adult shit that I have to do. And I'm not saying that college isn't hard, because it is. But it's like, it certainly doesn't get any easier, in terms of workload from there on out. It's kind of like, college is kind of like your sneak peek at what the real world is gonna be like. It's a much nicer version of the real world. And, anyway, not to enjoy it. I'm just saying, enjoy it. Not that it, whatever, being an adult is fine too. Like, I'm happier than I've probably ever been, but, anyway. But the point is, I can't just shut everything else out. In college, I could shut everything else out. Like, literally, even my other classes. I fucking failed some other classes because I was like, fuck it, I gotta finish Welcome to Hell. I can't do that now. I can't just, like, shut down and fucking, like, work on Welcome to Hell. I need money. I need to survive. I need to, when I'm doing bad, I need to go on fucking, food stamp assistance. Like, you know, and I'm not the only one that does that. I know a lot of people that in between jobs, they get on unemployment and they get on a bunch of social programs and shit. It's like, you gotta find a way to make it work. And so, whatever. So I started a Patreon. I'm kind of all over the place. I'm sorry. I started a Patreon, to kind of maintain some sort of like motivation, you know, like here's all a post animation for you guys, you know what I mean, and you're helping me out month to month. I don't think I can do people have asked me, oh, would you do a Kickstarter again? No, I would not. I hated Kickstarter. It was the worst fucking thorn in my side I've ever had to deal with. If I can help it, I'm never ever doing Kickstarter again. I hated every moment of it. It was terrible, like the all of the little details and the pieces that you have to pick up afterwards. It's the trying to get the whole thing set up was a fucking nightmare. I had to cuss someone out, like, whatever. It's also like, I don't think people realize like how much Kickstarter, like, whatever, not to talk shit. It's just, it's a very thorough, very intense process, and I can't do that again. I'm sorry, I don't have the fucking wherewithal for it. So, anyway, yeah, so I do that, do the Patreon, trying to work on Welcome to Hell. Oh, right, sorry, losing track, fucking focus. So working on Welcome to Hell is harder now, because it's like, I can't just, all my friends like have jobs and bills and shit that they need to pay and do and lives, and they live 20 minutes up the highway, and that's fucking 2 hours in California traffic time, and sometimes depending on the time of day, and you know what I mean? And so it's like, I can't just be like, hey, Neil, do you want to go fucking record Mephistopheles lines? 10 feet to the fucking left of me in this building next door where there's a fucking full sound booth. It's like, you gotta find a space to rent. You gotta find someone that knows how to work the equipment, or bring someone along that knows how to work the equipment. And then that's like another person's schedule that you have to work into. And I can't just get all of my friends together and go record voices anymore. Like, you know, they're all over the place. My animation professor who does the voice of Jonathan, like, he's still in Kansas City. Like, I had to Skype with him to get that all done, and he's an adult. He's a grown-ass adult with a family, and, like, you know what I mean? He's got his own shit going on. Like, it just, everything takes so much longer. And also, it's like, I'm better now. I've got 5 years worth of experience, and I think I'm a better animator. I think I'm hopefully a little better of a storyteller. And so that's kind of like what I'm trying to balance now, is like making Welcome to Hell good with getting Welcome to Hell done. And a lot of that process has been, because it's such a large project, has been, I'm sorry Blue Snowball, didn't mean to hurt ya. A lot of that process has been like dependent on other people, and I'm super grateful for that. Like, but it's just been a long process, and it's been harder, and it's been, I want this one to be something, I want Welcome to Hell to be something that I can actually show off, that I can put in a portfolio, because the first one wasn't. Like, I know you guys love it, and I know I've got this big fucking subscriber count, and just the last 5 years of my life has just been people demanding more Welcome to Hell from me. But like, I can't show it to like a studio and be like, this is the thing that I made. They don't care. So I want what I'm doing this time to be something I can be proud of, something that will look good. Like, I don't know, I'm just trying to find the balance between like getting shit done and I say as I sit here like back and forthing these two frames and just talking in fucking circles. This is my life. Yeah, I don't know, that's just kind of where I'm at right now, is trying to balance that. In addition to like everything else going on in my life, you know, I'm not in college anymore. When you're in college, your job is to like be a student and make your student film. It feels like there's more of a safety net in college. Like, I support myself. Well, I mean, I'm supported by my patrons and YouTube ad revenue, and like I play in a band on the side for money. Like, I take jobs occasionally, and then I save up a small pile of money, and I figure out how to fucking live on it while making Welcome to Hell. So anyway, it's just, you know, there's been a couple times where I've been out here where I've been in survival mode, you know what I mean? Where it's like, I can't welcome to hell. I can't welcome to hell right now. Like, I don't know if I'll have money for groceries. Like, that's happened to me before. And like, I can't just drop what I'm doing and make a cartoon in that state. So it's been this kind of on and off of trying to make it work. And to go back to this comment, I get this. Like, I totally agree with this. Like, the longer it takes to do it, the higher the bar of expectations is set. Like, don't think I don't think about that all the fucking time. Dude, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen when I fucking post Welcome to Hell 2. I don't know if people are gonna be like, oh my god, it's finally fucking here. If it's gonna blow the fuck up. I don't know if it'll just sink into obscurity. I have no fucking clue, but like, I'm just gonna make it. I'm gonna get it done, and I'm gonna see what happens. I constantly think about that. The storyline that I have for the second one is actually kind of, that's the other thing. It's a bigger storyline. It's a little more, kind of emotionally hefty than the first one. It's a thick second episode with like 3 C's. So it's gonna be like, hopefully, like, there's part of my brain that's like, this is only the second episode, you can't do this shit. And then there's the other part of my brain was like, it's been 5 years, people are ready for it. Like, there's been enough like fan works and speculation and headcanons and fandom activity since then, like, it's gonna feel like it was worth it. But I don't know how the YouTube community feels about that. Like, there's this whole vivid tapestry of like Welcome to Hell fanon and like headcanons and like and lore that like all of the people that followed me on Tumblr know about, and like it's you know what I mean, it's kind of scattered around the internet in different ways, and I have no idea if the people on YouTube are just like, where's the second episode, or if like you guys have like dug around and found any of the stuff on Welcome. Like, I don't know exactly what your level of interaction with it is, because because I don't interact with YouTube that much. And I've been trying to get better about that, but like, that's part of this whole thing too. I want you guys to understand I'm not, like, I don't really know how. I'm learning. It doesn't come naturally to me to do YouTube, but it's like, you know, I'm figuring it out. I didn't plan any of this. I didn't set out to do any of this. It just kind of happened. So anyway, yeah, like there's this high bar of expectations. I don't know if it'll re-spark an interest in it, if the interest is fading. It's kind of hard to gauge that. There was this big interest in it when I was, like I said, making it a comic back on DeviantArt, and that kind of died down a little bit as I, you know, put it to the side so I could work on my animation projects. And then, like, sure enough, when I posted Welcome to Hell, the animation online, like the people that it was blowing up with weren't the people that were following me from DeviantArt. Some of them were, but some of them were like, "Whoa, this looks really familiar. I think I used to follow you." It like rebirthed itself as this like other thing. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know, like, maybe people will be super excited for it. Maybe they'll be like, yeah, fuck this, I'm over it. I have no clue. There's only time will tell. Let's see. And I don't know what is meant by, like, side projects. Like, yeah, I make other art. Like, sometimes I make costumes, or I, like, sew, or I make bracelets, I make jewelry and shit. Like, I have to do other shit with my hands. Staring at a fucking screen all day is like the worst. I actually started going to the gym because I don't want my legs to fucking atrophy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I sit all day and I stare at a screen, and I need to do physical activity, and I need to do something tactile with my hands, and I need to do like other shit to stimulate myself. But otherwise it's like, I don't know, I mean, I get jobs, like I've had jobs, and when I have a job, sometimes it's too much to have a job and work on a passion project. As for the subscribers, like, I've gotten more subscribers. Like I said, I'm almost at 300K. So, you know, like I get it. Like, I wouldn't blame people if they unsubscribed from me. Like, whatever, you do what you gotta do. This comment got me thinking because I think they're right in a lot of aspects. But I don't know if you know how much, like, it costs to pay people to do animation. A lot of animators are notoriously underpaid. I don't have enough financial aid to hire people. I really don't. Like, the people that, if anyone's gonna help me with Welcome to Hell, it's gonna be my friends. Like, but they all have jobs and shit too, and, like, maybe it'll happen eventually, but, like, at the moment right now, it's just me. I can't ask people to work on my shit for free. Well, I mean, I can, and I have, and they probably would, but, like, I can't ask people to prioritize helping me work on something when I can't fucking pay them to do it, or I can't pay them enough. I want it to be collaborative. I think it's going to get to a point where it can be, and I think hopefully if everything goes according to plan, I'd like to be able to pay people to work on it with me. That's kind of my ideal, but like right now I can't. I don't know how much money you think I make on YouTube, but it's not a lot. I'm not scoffing at the like amount that I make on YouTube. It helps. It absolutely helps with like my rent every month. But like it's I certainly can't pay people what they're worth and still pay my rent. I don't have an excuse there. I just don't have any money. Sorry. And yeah, you're right. It's not like I'm not aware of the potential for it. Like I tell people all the time, it's like I'm kind of sitting on this little gold mine of a thing and I just need to fucking do it. But you know, let me think. Is that kind of it? Is that pretty much all there is to say? I don't know. I mean, like I could elaborate on any number of things, but I guess just kind of where I'm at now is I'm working on Welcome to Hell, and hopefully, you know, hopefully I'll be able to collaborate with people on it pretty soon. But that's the other thing too. It's like I'm also notoriously disorganized, and I gotta get my shit together before I like ask people, you know, to collaborate on a project with me. Like I'm working on model sheets, and shit. I've got these, that I'm kind of like working on, trying to figure out the rules of like how these characters move and whatnot. But yeah, like you know what I mean? It's just, it's hard to, whatever, to ask someone to come on board and then be like, oh, I don't, sorry, I don't have model sheets ready. You know, these, like, my friends have worked on my stuff before, like in the Ghost Satellite My friends have worked on my shit before and like on Ghost Satellite projects and like, you know what I mean? The kind of, I don't know. Everyone's got like a sort of a style that comes naturally to them, and sometimes it's hard to like pick up how to do something in another style, or like, wait, what the fuck, how do you draw these, like, what are the shapes underneath? Like you kind of, it takes a little bit of adjusting, even for me. Shit, like I can't fucking finish the model sheets right now because I haven't animated enough Mephistopheles to know like how to draw him correctly. Like when I was sketching in my sketchbook during the first Welcome to Hell when I was in college, I remember it was towards the end of the year. It was like when the film was almost finished, all of the animation was done. I was in the coloring process and I was doodling Mephistopheles and I was like, oh, that's how to draw him. Like it finally clicked after I had animated like a whole 10-minute film. Like, so, you know, it's a process, and I want it to, I don't know, I want it to feel worth it. I don't want to half-ass it. You know, and it's just animation takes a long time, and I want it to be good, and I want it to be worth the wait. Will it be worth the wait? I don't know. We'll just have to find out. I can tell you as of right now, my goal is to have the roughs done. That's not gonna happen. I'm looking at my whiteboard. My goal is to have the roughs done by May, and then maybe have it cleaned by October. I don't know that can happen. I need to be able to do like 2 shots-ish a day, and I was doing that like last week, but then like shit got fucked, and also I'm moving at the end of the month, and so that's gonna be a whole thing. You know what I mean? Like shit comes up. We'll see. I'd like to get it out towards the end of the year, but I don't know. They always say like give yourself however much time it took to do the rough animation, you're gonna need at least that much time for like the cleanup and the coloring, and then like even more time for the fucking compositing. I always wildly overestimate what I'm capable of. Yeah, hopefully the process will speed up as I make a little more money and I'm able to bring people on board. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it right now. I'm sorry, I've only made 3 drawings since I've started talking, but like that's what happens. I guess I could have started on like I could have done a shot where there's more like, you know what I mean? Like I finished this one the other day. I still have to move Jonathan's like jaw around, but I could have done something that was like that just needed a few more in-betweens. I like literally just opened like a brand new shot and started doing geese, so yeah, sorry, that part takes a while. That's where I'm at. I'll try and keep you guys more in the loop, but that's sort of my deal. The last 5 years have been a lot of ups and downs and uncertainty and trying to make money and be fulfilled and be, you know, be an artist, doing what I want to do, balancing what I want to do versus what I have to do for money. There's all these worries that I have too of like, if I spend all this time working on my own stuff, like, will I age myself out of the industry? You know what I mean? Because the industry's always going to want to hire like some bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kid right out of college that doesn't know they're getting screwed. I don't know, but I'm just going on that journey, and maybe you guys will stick around with me. If not, that's totally fine. Whatever. Like, you can unsubscribe. I don't give a shit. I super appreciate all of the people that have supported me this far. All the people that are tuning into this now. All of my patrons. All of my non-patrons. Anyone that's ever watched and enjoyed Welcome to Hell. The people that didn't enjoy Welcome to Hell. I'd like to do also one of those cheesy, like, Q&A videos, because I've never really done that before. I'm coming up on 300k subs. That's a lot of sub sandwiches, and I would like to try and do a Q&A. So if you guys have any questions for me that aren't, when is Welcome to Hell 2 gonna come out? And are you working on Welcome to Hell 2? If you have questions that aren't that, go ahead and fucking shoot them over to me, and I will try and answer them. So yeah, thanks for tuning in for my life story. I'll talk to you guys later. Oh wait, I want to do that thing that the kids do now.